Someday we're going to be able to preserve memories, save them in a way where they can be incorporated into the history books, and you can download them, and then walk a mile in the moccasins of the people of the past. But there are good memories, and then there are bad memories.
Moccasins.
And there's something
Are you talking about Native
fascinating,
Americans?
isn't there, about the most extreme memories of human history? If you could actually download a flashback of, say, the Western Front of the First World War, it might be the most intense thing you could ever experience. You would be present then for a war that was meant to end all wars, supposedly. You would instead be watching modern warfare begin. That conflict marked the murderous dawn of an era, where a mechanized, industrialized, and efficient 20th century dragged the old, honorable, glorious, romantic 19th century across the muddy fields of Flanders and shot it in a trench.
Whoa.
When you're ready, if you're ready, for even a simulation of what actual people went through, follow in the footsteps of the soldier in front of you as he steps straight into the fire of the First World War.
I'm too lazy right now. I'm not getting up.
The world was thoroughly 19th century.
Oh, wow.
At the beginning of this war, you have French soldiers marching
pretty
off
cool,
to
actually.
battle with a sense of romance, expecting honor and glory. And when these 19th century troops, wearing red pants and blue jackets with tails, encounter 20th century machine guns and giant artillery pieces, the French are torn to shreds. Nobody had expected anything quite like this. How could they? Automobiles, for example, are new in the First World War. Submarines that can travel under the surface of the sea and attack shipping? That's right out of a Jules Verne book. And how about the H.G. Wells-like science fiction air machines that are filling the sky in numbers for really the first time ever? And the growth of industry and assembly lines and factories will become the hallmarks of war in the 20th century. But this is really the first time you get to see them. The power of all this new weaponry and all the steel in the air make it suicidal for people to stay above ground. And that's how you get the growth of these trenches, stretching all the way, eventually, from the mountains to the sea across the entire Western Front. The terrain becomes hideous and gruesome, and the artillery barrages turn the landscape into a totally alien-looking environment, like the moon, only weirder. Some of the battles from this war are legendary. Meat grinders like Verdun, or the Somme, a months-long battle where the British attackers on the very first day suffer 58,000 casualties. But Third Ypres, often called Passchendaele, took that horrific, Mordor-like, hellish landscape and flooded it with double the normal rainfall. Just when you thought a combat environment couldn't get any more nightmarish, impossibly, Passchendaele does.
Oh, shit. I'm in the trenches. Those rats. Yummy. Yo, I'm not gonna front. This is pretty dope. This is like being in a Call of Duty World of War game.
I'm ready. You ready?
Very cool. sound is really good. Very bassy.
They call this sort of shelling drum fire, and that's because the ordnance is hitting so rapidly that it sounds like a drum roll, doesn't it?
Fortunately, I can barely hear this prick's voice, but other than that,
Might lock you in here for 24
yeah,
hours.
pretty good.
What do you think you'd be like when you came out? Imagine withstanding this sort of thing for weeks or even months, and you can't just take the VR headset off when you're afraid.
Aha.
These artillery strikes drove people insane. The shockwaves may have literally shattered their nerves. Remember something. I don't care how bad it seems. On the Western Front of the First World War, things can always get worse. They can always get much, much worse.
Hey, what happened? What the hell is this? Oh, I guess he must be a Roman Catholic. Well, that's the problem. You know, if they made most VR games look this good, I would never leave my room. Oh, then again, this is made with the Unreal Engine, so that explains it. But yeah, this looks pretty good. I'm impressed. It's not a game; it's just it's more of an experience. For $5, definitely, I think it's worth it. Shit, if this was $10, I'd pay for it. 15? Maybe not. But 10, I think that's a sweet spot. Very impressive.
You still can't visit some of these battlefields to this day.
Except for this prick's contrived voice.
100 years later, they're still
He's a bit annoying.
polluted with things like arsenic and mercury and lead. And
Speaks in such a exaggerated, contrived manner.
Of unexploded shells.
It's a little superficial.
Every so often, a member of the cleanup crews will be killed when one of these old munitions detonates. If a shell fired during the First World War kills somebody cleaning it up today, is that another First World War casualty? In some very literal ways, this war remains present in our lives, and not just physically. The collective psychological scarring that comes from surviving something like this can affect entire societies far into the future. The people who made it home from this war, including soon-to-be world leaders like Churchill and Hitler, experienced things that you just had the tiniest taste of, but they did it for real, and then somehow had to move on and make the modern world. Maybe it helps us to better understand our times if we recall that they were built and
raining bombs.
Destroyed again, in large part by a generation.
It's not raining men, it's raining bombs.
Forever reliving an early 20th century nightmare. How do you describe the indescribable? Sometimes it takes an artist. British Western Front soldier and painter,
That was short.
Paul Nash had a key eye for the landscape and tried to describe to his wife in a November 1917
Alright, so they're gonna force me to watch the ending
letter
credits and
what a
hear this
trip
prick's
up to the
voice.
front lines was like.
Yeah, I take
and what
that
it
back.
had done to him.
Maybe $5 is the sweet
He
spot.
wrote,
Way too short.
I shall not forget
The
it as
narrator's
long
been
as I
annoying.
live. I have seen the most frightful nightmare of a country more conceived by Dante
Other than that,
or Poe than
graphically,
by nature.
pretty impressive.
Unspeakable.
Lighting's
utterly
very good.
indescribable. I may
Sense of
give you
immersion is
some
good. It makes
idea
you
of
really
its
feel like you're in the
horror,
environment.
But only being in it
But-
and of it can make you sensible of its
But the
dreadful
duration and length
nature.
of this experience,
We all have a vague notion of the terrors of a battle, but no pen or drawing
I don't know.
can convey this country.
$5.
Evil
Yeah.
and the incarnate fiend alone
okay.
can be master of this.
$5, you get a cup of coffee
no
and a
glimmer
bagel.
of God's hand is seen anywhere. Sunset and sunrise are blasphemous.
Whether you guys think
They
that's
are
worth it
mockeries to man.
for a
The
10,
rain
15-minute
drives
experience,
on,
that's on you.
and the shells never cease. They alone plunge overhead, tearing away the rotting tree stumps, breaking
But,
the plank roads,
yeah.
striking down horses
Graphics
and
do look
mules,
very, very nice.
annihilating, maiming, maddening. They plunge
But
into
for the
the
duration,
grave
I don't
that
think
is this
I
land.
don't know if I could recommend this.
It is unspeakable, godless, hopeless. I'm no
This
longer
guy's
an
voice is
artist,
godless and
interested
hopeless,
curious. I am a messenger who will bring back word from the men who are fighting to those who want this war to go on forever. Feeble, inarticulate will be my message,
Yeah.
but it will have a bitter truth, and may it burn their lousy souls.
Alright, get off your moral high horse. You got your $5. Go with it. Alright, that's it. Guess I'm on to the next game. See yous.